Fucking dead. All right, so we're back again, and if this gets shut down, there will be a part 3, and we will keep going. I am going to finish this motherfucker. It's going to happen. Yeah, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go check part 1. We're kind of on limited time, but if this gets cut off for any reason, on the Darkstone group Facebook page, there will be an additional video. We're just going to keep going until this makes everything happen. So yeah, so like I was saying, Wolfman 2010, and it was Benicio del Toro. Benicio del Toro was the name of the actor that I missed, who did a great job. I really liked the sympathetic way of it. The other thing I really liked about the movie is by the end of it, everyone knows that werewolves exist or wolfmen exist. Like, he went through like a public area. He killed lots of people like right then and there in front of everyone's eyes. And at the end, like, one of the heroes gets turned into a wolfman as well, or he will eventually become that. The one thing I didn't like actually was that Hunter character. I think he was a little too above human. Like, he kind of took me out of it because he was just a little too badass. So far as being like a comic book superhero versus being an actual real person. And so that would be my only thing, because I think everything else was treated so I mean, the supernatural was supernatural, but all the characters were very real. They were very based in reality, where he was a little too cool for school kind of a thing. So that would be my only critique on it. So Kenneth, we finally got through it. Now we're going to take some of your questions.
Okay, well, I'm going to start with the oldest first.
Yep.
So we're Stephen Hart.
Stephen!
After the House of Horrors movie is done, will you be making individual movies for the monsters that appear, but with your own twist on it, that you could explore more than in a mashup movie? In
first regard, I'm going to say no. But there's always a possibility of me being swayed in one way or another. So right now it's so far ahead, it's hard to imagine that I would be making individual monster movies based on the world that I create. There is a trilogy of things that I was considering doing: House of Horrors, Mansion of Madness, and Castle of Cadavers, which was part of a pulp comic kind of a thing, which I'm kind of designing, but I don't know if that's even going to stay the same. So right now it sounds like it'd be an amazing idea, but I don't know. Right now I'm really just focused on the one movie, but you never know. The fans might react to something that causes us to do more, or you never know. So we shall see.
Okay, Stephen Hart, I love you. His comment was, Alyssa Lauer is awesome.
Alyssa Lauer is awesome. For those who don't know, she runs the show for me and keeps all the questions coming and all that kind of stuff. And today, she actually kind of forgot that it was happening. So for you guys, she ran across town, grabbed her laptop while I was setting everything up, and came back so that we would have the show up and going for you guys, because we've had so many technical difficulties. We couldn't take another loss. So, but yeah, she's pretty badass.
Okay, Kenneth Tabor wants to know, so are you wolfed out yet?
Not yet. I feel like I just got started. I mean, I really, like, Frankenstein was a good dive in. Creature in the Black Lagoon only had a limited amount of stuff, and then he really just got into bad lake movie monsters. So that one was a little tedious, especially because I started watching Swamp Thing, the series, which I still regret to this day, but I bailed eventually. I got through probably the first season and started the second season, and then found out the third season was going to cost me $70 to see, because it was only available on DVD on Amazon. And so I just read some of the synopsises of each one, and yeah, no. I go, oh man, that show. I love the movies, both of them actually, even the kooky second one. I love the score of that one. But yeah, no, I really got Hyde out. Hyde eventually ran me into the ground because everything was the exact same story over and over again with just slight details. So at this point, I am crazy Wolfman now. When I do 2 shows from now, that may be different. because I would have taken in quite a lot of Wolfman. But right now, I feel like I just got my feet wet. So no, I'm still going hard. Yeah, you take that for what it is.
All right, Kenneth Tabor again. When you decided to concentrate on the Wolfman rather than werewolves in general, why the focus?
I chose Wolfman because all the earlier classic versions of werewolves was the Wolfman, and so it seems like that's where I should start. And he should be that character versus werewolves. Now werewolves are my favorite monster of all time, but Wolfman are not my favorite monster because they're definitely there's a big difference between the two. But out of the classic monsters, Wolfman was my favorite, just because of how wild he was. And Dracula, Frankenstein, everybody had a problem with the Wolfman. And yes, I called Frankenstein's monster Frankenstein because the Universal Films eventually started calling him that. And in my film, I will definitely say that he has taken the name of his father because he didn't have a name. So he is Frankenstein. In the book, yes, he was a separate thing, but in the Universal Films have made it abundantly clear, Son of Frankenstein, which actually was about the guy, but Ghost of Frankenstein, we're now calling him Frankenstein. So, yeah, so that's happened.
Okay, Kenneth Tabor again. He says, hello, Alyssa. Hello, Kenneth. Curse of the Werewolf is one of my favorites. How did you like Oliver Reed's performance?
Loved Oliver Reed's performance. He was amazing. Like, I had only known him as the bad guy in Oliver, like the beat the hot girl with the cane or something. Was it a cane? Was it a bat? He beat her with something. I remember it was very visual. But no, I loved his performance. He was fantastic. I mean, that one was really dealing with the satanic look at it, because the reason he even became a werewolf was the fact that he was born out of wedlock on Christmas, and because that was Jesus's birthday, he was cursed because of it. And then if he did anything that was sin oriented, the wolf would come out. So that was a really unique take on it that you don't see so much of in any of the other films. But yeah, no, Oliver Reed's performance, he made that movie. He really did.
Hey, Jared Kearney. Today's Wolfman have been somewhat idolized, even romanticized. Historically, they were a thing of disgust and fear. Why did this change?
I think actually that's happened to a lot of the monsters. That's kind of the goal of the film in general, is to kind of make them, or attempt to make them scary again, and an actual, like, dark. Like, you know, now they're cereal boxes, and they're, you know, doormats, and they're very cartoony, because we've done so much with horror lately, and The Grudge and The Ring and all that kind of stuff, that we've gone so dark, and Freddy Krueger and Jason, and that these guys don't seem as dark anymore, and so we've turned them into Pez dispensers and cartoons and things like that. But all the, you know, they are the beginning of really, like, that horror icons. I mean, they were for the most part the biggest first icon of horror, other than actors and some imagery from silent films. So I think everything has been rewritten to be loved, because they don't want to make them scary anymore, because they don't think they can be. So they turn them into heroes and to superheroes, and just trying to keep that franchise or that lore going, but they just tame them and make them. I think that's just the approach that they have. So hopefully we'll be doing something about that, and trying to come back to their roots a little bit, versus making them just, you know, toys. Hopefully. We'll see.
Hey, Stephen Har wants to know, what are your thoughts on the movie Wolfman?
Wolfman. Oh, wait. Yeah. Wolfman. That was Gregory Hines. Yeah, that was cool. That was full wolf. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember really liking the movie. it was Gregory Hines did some interesting films. Like he did all of his tap dance love things, and then he would do like there was a serial killer movie that he did too. I'm trying to remember now. Oh no, Eve of Destruction. It was the robot girl or species girl or however it was. But yeah, he did some interesting movies. But Wolfman was definitely cool. It was a different take. I can't remember the origin of the wolf in that. If it was science oriented, or I'd have to look that up again. But it's definitely worth checking out.
It says after a bizarre and near fatal encounter with a serial killer, a television newswoman is sent to a remote mountain resort whose residents may not be what they seem. That's
The Howling.
Oh crap! They must. Oh, it is. Oh, it's if you also liked. I didn't see that part. Sorry.
Yeah, she's looking it up. So the next movie that we're talking about is The Undying Monster from, I believe, the 50s. This one, it was weird because they weren't. It was like a science experiment gone wrong. It was a wolf man, but it was like an evil entity. It was actually kind of confusing, this movie. And there were like these cliffs. It's actually been a little bit since I've watched it, since we've kept having to postpone the show because it keeps messing up, until we fought the power and fought the man. The Undying Monster, I mean, it wasn't great, but it definitely was science oriented. I believe at the end of the day, it was just a gene in the guy that got handed down from generation to generation. And the supernatural element was kind of debunked, and it was just a bad science thing that caused them to be wolf-like and animalistic-like. Well, they weren't even animals; they were just killing, maiming. Not the greatest, but it was cool to see it because I hadn't seen it, and I had seen that cover a few times of the Wolfman carrying a woman, very much like Frankenstein, and that was surprising because usually the Wolfman is eating the woman, not carrying the woman. But this wasn't so much as like werewolves per se as it was like a science and a hereditary gene, if I'm remembering correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was the case of the movie. I mean, it's worth checking out if you're doing a Wolfman study, but it's not one that I would suggest for entertainment. Wow, that's harsh. That might have been the nastiest thing I've ever said about a movie. All right, so let's finish off these questions. We're all caught up on movies.
All right. Well, we've got Kenneth Tabor. Can't stress this enough. Silver. Seems to be a pain in the ass to a lot of monsters. Think it's a solid weapon against the Wolfman, or outdated?
Well, I mean, it's kind of... I mean, it won't be outdated so far as our movie's concerned because we're really focusing on the older traditions. But it is used against a lot of monsters now because I'm not entirely sure why silver is the purest metal so far as the monsters are concerned, because it's obviously not the rarest, you know, but man is really focused on gold as being the greatest thing in the world, and silver being like the second greatest thing in the world. I'm not entirely sure, but I definitely would say that I would be keeping the silver aspect in the in House of Horrors.
Okay. Stephen Horr says, thanks for the birthday wishes, smiley face.
Yes, happy late birthday, Stephen.
It goes on.
We're still going here. It's this. I haven't left this room since I wished you happy birthday before. Now I'm wishing you happy birthday again, and possibly when this video is finished, it'll be your birthday again.
Kenneth Tabor says, Curse of the Werewolf, my tattoo. Love that movie.
I did get to see the picture of your tattoo when I went back home. Very fucking cool. That's awesome.
Everybody should go on your page. On the
if you go to the comments of the Wolfman Analysis 102 Part 2, you will see the picture of the tattoo he's got of Oliver Reed as the Wolfman. It's really cool.
Okay, and then Kenneth Tabor says, dates would be awesome to dip.
Dates? Oh, we're talking about nugget balls or gravy nuggets that I would eat in the final show of the Wolfman, which I have promised We'll be prepared. It'll be gravy nuggets. We'll be eating and dates. That's you are cruel, my friend. I haven't had a date, huh? I haven't had a date. But no, no. I don't think I'll be covering brown gravy and dates and eating those. That might not be something that my stomach would handle well. Maybe.
We'll have to see.
We'll have to see.
Yeah. Kenneth Tabor, 2010 had some of the best practical makeup and loved the contrast of the father Wolfman battling the son. Your thoughts on it?
Yeah, kind of went over that, but that definitely was cool. The fact that they went as practical as they did. I mean, they did use, of course, CG for some of the stuff that would make things easier. But the amount of practical that they did do was very cool. Yeah, no, I love the father-son relationship because in the original film, they definitely were at odds with each other constantly, and this like concept that the wolf had become so he got the wolf, but he kind of went crazy. I'm not sure the wolf made him crazy, but he started doing the evil deeds because of the lunacy that kind of came from the wolf, and so he kind of became a serial killer and a monster. He was worse than the Wolfman himself. So yeah, no, I loved it.
Okay. Can the curse be passed by means other than a bite, hereditary, blood transfusion, etc.? And that is from Jared Kearney.
It's weird how that works, the DNA switch, because I know we've kind of talked about this before. From a transfusion or an arm gets replaced, would it happen? And I would say that if the body does not reject it, yes. Because I kind of thought about that a little bit with Wolf, the Jack Nicholson film, because Michelle Pfeiffer and Jack had some sexy times, and I'm not entirely sure they didn't represent a condom anywhere, so it might be in her bloodstream that way, because she does just turn into a wolf at the end. Now they do give the open window to, if anyone has enough wolf inside of them, they'll just turn on their own. But for some reason, bite and saliva, because there's so many germs in our mouth, I think that's why a lot of zombies and werewolves and vampires, it's all bite oriented, because of the nastiest part of our body is literally our mouths. So far as disease is concerned, your butt is cleaner than your mouth, and that is true and weird.
Yeah. Stephen Haar suggests McDonald's nuggets.
I may do that. I just watched the movie Cooties, which is all about the nugget being terrible, and luckily there'll be some time, and hopefully I'll get that out of my system, and I won't think about the nuggets. But no, McDonald's nuggets with some brown gravy. That might be better than the date.
Now, is this something everybody's voting on, or is this something you're gonna choose?
Well, it's group oriented, so we can keep talking about it. We got two more shows, or one more show after this before I actually have to do the deed. But I'm loving it, because that's the slogan of McDonald's. So I'm loving the nuggets with the gravy versus the dates. So let's stay on that path.
Perhaps some tofu and brown gravy.
Tofu and brown gravy. That brown gravy sounds
delightful.
Not at all.
Delightful.
Not at all. Which would be really weird too, because like I would probably just die of a contradiction, because it would be gravy from meat.
Not necessarily.
Oh right, there's gravy from tears of vegetarians.
Magic. Yes.
I'm not a vegetarian. She's a vegetarian. We have a hard time surviving together.
Okay. Jared Kearney had a theory about why this keeps.
Oh, why we keep losing the show?
Yeah, he thinks it's the Wolfman Council that they're trying to silence Darkstone. So.
Well, we're figuring shit out, and they can't stop us, because there will be a part 3 and a part 4, part 5, part 10 until we get this bitch done. And we've been doing pretty good with part 2, because I guess maybe it's only one screw up a night, hopefully. But if not, I got it. There'll be a part 3 5 minutes after part 2 goes down. So stay with me.
Okay, somebody new, Christopher Lumser. Woo!
Hey, he's a Skeleton Key fan. He's one of my oldest fans.
Oh.
Yeah.
In recent years, decades, classic movie monsters such as vampires, zombies, and with what you're covering, werewolves, the first two creature classes, if you will, have either shown that the curse, disease, what have you, can be transmitted from mother to unborn child. With that said, what are your thoughts in regards to a movie such as The Curse, pretty much stating it as an STD as well?
Yeah, The Curse is a really kind of nasty movie with, I believe it was Henry Thomas. Or no, it was Will Wheaton, I believe. And yeah, no, it's interesting how that works because it is kind of like an STD, just not sexual. But it very well could be. If your DNA is mingling with other DNA, like whether you eat if you eat a werewolf, do you become a werewolf? And if you didn't cook the meat, obviously, like, will it work the other way versus just saliva? But I would say yes. I would say that, if, a wolf man and a wolf woman have a pup, probably going to be furry. You can take that to the bank.
Stephen Hart, maybe Wolfgang Puck is doing this as a way to steal the Darkstone gravy nuggets idea.
The gravy nuggets can go far. I'm feeling like if these are good, this might become a Darkstone thing. If the gravy nuggets, so we gotta be smart about this because I might even put the recipe up on the little Nilbog kitchen thing that we've done and that we're designing on our new website, which has been worked on for over a year because I have too much on my plate. And not enough nuggets.
Not enough nuggets. I think it's more Paula Deen.
Paula Deen, yeah.
She wants the gravy nuggets.
She wants to get rid of those nuggets with an eye.
And some butter.
Butter's good.
I like butter.
I like butter.
Stephen Hart, what are some of the worst Wolfman movies you have seen?
Well, out of our list, let me click on it real quick. Let's see here. Blah blah da 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 da. Oh, almost there. Da 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 da. Hey, la da 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 da. Okay, so the Wolfman, Wolf, Werewolf of London, Curse of the Werewolf, and Wolfman 2010, and the Undying Monster. I would say the Undying Monster would be the worst of the group so far. I would say the best one of the group for me is Wolf, followed by Curse of the Werewolf. Werewolf of London and Wolfman are very similar to me. I put Wolfman above Werewolf of London. Wolfman 2010 coming after that, and then the Undying Monster. Now I've got Howl, Night of the Werewolf. I was a teenage werewolf, which I know I saw that one.
That was Michael Landon?
Yeah, I definitely saw that movie.